Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and it's so great to see everybody, and I'm so happy to see you. I want everybody to know that this is not just a place for intelligent Black people, but it's also a place for people that love being Black and people that love their community, people that want to have positive, intelligent conversations. Even if you want to get a little ratchet every now and then, it's okay, as long as it leads back to something good. And also with the B1 philosophy, B1 means that we are Black first. Black first means that we take care of our community, we solve our own problems. Black first means that we put ourselves at the top of the priority list because nobody else will. Black first means that we believe our children, B1 children, are going to be leaders in the world when it comes to economics and wealth building and education, everything that matters. B1 also means we understand we must be one in order to be successful. If you agree with that philosophy, put a hashtag B and the number 1 in the chat. Use that hashtag all over the internet, on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere else, if you want to have B1 conversations. We can't talk to everybody because not everybody's B1, not everybody values the Black community. And I want you all to use that hashtag when you're having conversations so you can start connecting with each other. Now, what I want to talk about today is this. Oh, the high cost of groupies. The high cost of groupies. I heard a story this morning that really just really shot up my spidey senses as a finance professor, you know, who understands wealth and money very well, as a Black man who understands the Black community very well. I understand all different aspects of culture. I got, you know, friends from all spectrums of Blackness, everything from gangbangers to college professors, athletes, entertainers, all this stuff. And I've heard every story you can imagine. I've seen a lot of things in over the years. And I heard this story about a guy by the name of PJ Washington and this crazy dilemma, this crazy scenario with a lady named Brittany Renner, who he had a baby with. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. And but before I move on, I want to make sure that you are aware of the young brother that's joining me today. His name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. Jeff is a sports analyst with the Black Boss Network. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Dr. Boyce?
I'm doing very well, brother. Very well. And and Jeff, actually, it was actually two guys, Jeff and Samaki Walker. Samaki Walker, who played for the Los Angeles Lakers, who's a friend of mine, who was also a basketball superhero in the city of Louisville, as far as I'm concerned. Jeff and I are both from the city of Louisville, the home of Breonna Taylor and Muhammad Ali and everything in between. And we saw this story about a guy, this guy, PJ Washington, who happened to play for the University of Kentucky. So this story kind of hit close to home. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to actually allow Jeff, who is literally one of the best sports experts that I know, including guys I know on ESPN and Fox Sports, to break down and tell me, why is everybody talking about PJ Washington right now?
So PJ Washington, as you talked about, played for UK. Scrubs don't go to Kentucky. Only really good basketball players go to play for John Calipari, Kentucky. So obviously he was really good. He comes out after his sophomore year, goes in the first round of the NBA draft. He was a lottery pick, top 12 pick to Michael Jordan's team, the Charlotte Hornets. He's doing pretty good for himself. But during his time at Kentucky, he gets into a relationship with an Instagram model by the name of Brittany Renner. And so Brittany Renner was like, 26, and PJ Washington was like 18, 17, 18, 19, somewhere around there. And so obviously PJ goes in the first round, gets $1 million contract, plays for the Charlotte Hornets, and then boom, Brittany Renner gets pregnant. So they have their baby, they're in this relationship. But during the whole time, Brittany Renner made her name from being an Instagram girl, from doing a lot of twerking, from being an Instagram model, showing off her body, all kinds of stuff. That's how she made her money. So obviously it was just like, PJ, what are you doing? Like, yeah, come on. We know how this game works. We know how this ends. You're the superstar basketball player making millions of dollars. She's the, the Instagram gal. Like, this probably isn't going to end well. And remember, we did a podcast about this, Doc, about LeVar Ball warning his sons about meeting women. They were like, you're not going to meet a regular woman as good of a basketball player as you are. So anyway, that's PJ's dad, or somebody probably should have that conversation with him, because now she has their baby, and now they've broken up. PJ has put out some since deleted tweets that's saying that she was never the woman that he thought she was, and he's deleted those tweets and all kinds of stuff. And what was interesting is that obviously the Twitter detectives are on top of it. Years ago, before she got with PJ, Brittany Renner put out a video talking about the easiest way for a pretty girl to make some money is to get with a dumb athlete and to have a baby by him. so she put these statements out there in the stratosphere years before she ever met PJ, and she executed the plan. And so she now will get paid more than likely for a very long time because she is the baby mother of a famous rich basketball player. So that is why the internet was set ablaze with PJ Washington and Brittany Renner over the last couple of days.
Wow. Okay. So according to what you're saying about PJ Washington, and by the way, I'm talking to Jeff Lightsy Jr. So PJ Washington went on Instagram and was checking out the thirst pics. Looked like she might have some injections up in there. What do you think? Give me a yes or no. Do y'all think that booty's real, or y'all think that booty's made out of some foreign substance, some alien material? Made out of Teflon or AstroTurf or whatever they make fake booties out of now. What do y'all think? Y'all think that's real or fake? So he, the poor kid. How old is PJ Washington right now?
He's 22 now. So yeah, he's 22.
Okay, so that would make his baby mama what, about 40?
She's like 28. Like 28.
Oh, okay. Well, that's almost like a
29. She's 29. She's 29.
Oh, 29. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's getting closer to 30, and she's she's planning. It sounds like she's planning her retirement. She says, these fake booties don't last forever. Eventually, they go flat, and I need to find a plan B. And the plan B stood for baby. It sounds like, which was to hook up with an athlete and get pregnant with an athlete and make herself rich. So let me ask you this, Jeff. Has the child support been determined? Because I saw that post about it, but I didn't know if that was actually set yet.
No. So, I mean, obviously the breakup was just made, public over the last few days, over the last week or so. So no, that hasn't been made public, but what has been made public are things like, we see all the time that these rappers have to pay all this money, whether it's people, not just rappers, but entertainers, basketball players, whoever, have to pay a ton of money either in divorce settlements or child support, right? We see what happened with Dr. Dre. We've seen what happened to the rapper Future, having to pay tons of money. So it hasn't been determined yet, but when the time comes, trust me, it will be determined if they can't reconcile or whatever. And honestly, we talked about it a little bit before the air, but the NBA players, they make millions during their first contract, but it's really that second contract that can get up into the nine figures, the 50 to 100, 50, 80, $100 million deals. And that is where, those child support statements or whatever are going to go up. And the sad thing and what's dangerous and what PJ has to watch out for is that we talk about he's only 22. Right. So he still, I imagine, still wants to have a wife at some point and have a family. You just can't make this mistake twice or three times. It seems like you can fall victim to being gullible a little bit because everybody knew who Brittany Renner was or what she was about, and you still fell for it. So now it's just key for him to really be like, hey, man, don't make this mistake again because it can be very, very costly.
Wow. Everybody, we're talking about PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. PJ Washington's an NBA player who dated a woman named Brittany. And I guess PJ was much younger than her. And it appears allegedly that she might have been pretending. She was much older. It sounds to me like maybe she was pretending to be younger. Like, has that come out, Jeff, that she was pretending to be a 19, 20-year-old?
Well, everybody pretty much knew because she was in this public space with Instagram. The thing that has a lot of people on edge is the fact that PJ was 17, 18, 19, and she was 25, 26, 27 years old going to these UK games. She had this she was a bigger than life personality. She was big on Instagram or whatever. And he was a basketball star, but he was still young and naive. And so it's been compared in some spaces on the internet as predatory behavior, right? Just imagine if Doc, you have daughters, if they're 18 years old and this 26-year-old dude, especially your daughters are super talented, right? Within the next year, next year, they're going to be millionaires because of this extraordinary talent, and somebody's willing to pay them millions of dollars to display this talent or whatever. And so you're coming to their games, you're showing up, you're letting everybody know you're there, and you're almost plotting on this person, because you know that, like I said, they're going to be within $5 to $10 million over the next year, and you're 6, 7, 8 years older than them. It almost like, I mean, you let me know. Does that not sound a little bit predatory? Or if the roles were reversed, we wouldn't be kind of saying like, I don't know about that.
Well, what do you guys think? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that what she allegedly did was predatory? Or do you think that, I mean, at the very least, it sounds opportunistic, right? It's one of those things where you can't imagine her as a 26-year-old dating an 18-year-old kid, if he was broke. Like, I don't know a lot of 26-year-old women who would date, broke-ass 18-year-olds. So it sounds to me like, him going on his way to the NBA means that she saw something there, right, that made her attracted or want to at least have a child with him. So before I move on, actually, everybody do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button right now. And also, if you want the audio version of this podcast, you can actually go to the drboycebreakdown.com. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on a lot of different platforms. So if you look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, you can find it there. And our goal is not to gossip. Our goal is to elevate the conversation, right? At the end of the day, if you ain't learning something by being on this platform, if you're not a better person, more motivated, smarter, more capable, then we're not doing our job. So don't think that we're here just talking bad about the guy. I feel bad for him. I don't feel so bad for her, to be honest with you, unless it's not true, unless she really cared about him and everybody's saying things that aren't true. Because I know that Lord knows that when me and Alicia got married, we had all kinds of gossip bills running from people that never met us, didn't know nothing about us, so I understand that. I understand what it means to be in the public eye and have people say things that are not true. So maybe some of this isn't true, but I think at the very least, this is not something I wanted to talk about just because it's like, oh man, that's terrible. Or what's wrong with these people? It's more so to talk about wealth and all the different parts of wealth that you don't think about. Building wealth reminds me of like playing the game of basketball. A guy who doesn't know how to play basketball that well, he thinks basketball is just about dribbling and shooting, right? But if you talk to, say, Michael Jordan about what it takes to be a great basketball player, he's going to talk about 1,000 things that you never even thought had anything to do with basketball. He's going to talk about what you do in the weight room, what kind of food you eat, putting LeBron ices up his whole lower body or whatever he does with the cryo chambers and all that stuff, so there's 1,000 other things that happen that affect your ability to play that go deeper than just, what the front office does, right? There's a lot of things that go into your ability to play and to win championships that is not just about dribbling and shooting. And wealth is the same way. People think that building wealth is about, getting money or making investments or saving your money. No. It's a lot of it's related to family. A lot of it is related to how you build your family, because your family is your first business. So basically what Brittany did, let me break something down for y'all right quick. Y'all need to understand this. This is something I've learned because I have a lot of friends that are famous entertainers and athletes. And believe it or not, it sounds crazy, but even scholars, nerdy guys like me have groupies. I know y'all out there. Some of y'all in the chat right now. It's okay. Just keep your distance. I got a wife now. And I'm going to tell you, groupies are scientists. Groupies are mathematicians. Groupies are private detectives. Groupies are not dumb little girls who are just running along, just trying to get in on the party, right? That's a role that they play. That's a role that they play. But I have seen situations where women were very scientific about getting up close to the man they wanted to get up close to. And women have a level of intelligence in certain areas that men just don't have. Don't get me wrong. I think there's some areas where we're a little bit stronger, but there's some areas where women will pick up on things that men will totally miss. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Give me a yes if you get what I'm saying. If you understand what I'm saying. Like I'll see, like sometimes I remember one specific time I was sitting there and my wife and I were talking to a realtor. We were looking for houses in Atlanta. And the realtor and my wife started talking with this random white lady that walked by. And the white lady's like, "Hi, y'all. How you doing?" And they start talking to have this conversation. "Oh, what high school did you go to?" "I went to such a," right? And they're having this friendly conversation. And the conversation's over. And I turned to my wife and the black realtor and I said, "Oh, that was a nice lady." And my wife was like, "That old bitch." and the realtor's like, "Yeah, she thinks she's slick. She up here doing." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And what it did was it reminded me that there's like an awareness that women can have that men we'll miss the whole damn thing. We won't even see it, And so what makes me feel bad for this poor guy is that he fell for a trick that a lot of guys fall for. I don't necessarily feel sorry for him, but I do feel bad in the sense that he was only 18. You got to remember, you're talking about a kid. You ain't talking about you ain't even talking about a grown man, really. Your brain isn't even fully formed until you're 25 years old. So you're really talking about a kid, and I kind of feel bad for him. So Jeff, what else do we not mean? So how good is his brother at basketball? Like, how good is he relative to other NBA players?
I mean, PJ is a pretty, like, obviously he's still a young player. He's only in the second year in the league last year, but I mean, he was good enough to go in the lottery. So that means the top 14 picks. He was a 12th overall pick. He's doing all right, but they're on a very young team down there in Charlotte. You got LeVar Ball's son, LaMelo's down there. You got some other really young, talented players, all playing for Michael Jordan, all trying to, make their way, all, basically being a way better team, way better drafted team than Jordan's had ever done. So his career's on the up and up. Right, like, so his career it's barely scratching the surface. I think he's going to continue to get better and better. And the problem with that is like he's going to have more and more women throwing themselves at him because he looks like an easy lick, like he looks like an easy target because now he has shown the capability or incapability of picking the right woman. Once again, a blind man could have told you Brittany Renner was not the person you were supposed to be. Like, literally a blind man, like Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles blind, could have told you, stay away from this woman. You can, there's other women that you might want to be involved with or whatever, but this one ain't it. This one, like, there's literally a video out there that she is telling you how to get paid. Women, like, if you're pretty, if you got a big butt and a smile, this is how you get paid. Get with a guy like a PJ Washington. Now, obviously, this is before she met him, but it is out there. In the internet detectives found it, so he has to show better awareness of what's going on. Like, you're not just a high school phenom anymore. Like, you're a millionaire. I feel honestly. You know what I mean? Like hopefully he's able to learn from this situation and is able to make better decisions moving forward. But this one's going to cost him. This was going to cost him a lot.
well, let me show you all the post that really got my attention on this. Samaki Walker, who's a great basketball player at Louisville and just a great guy who played for the Lakers. He shared this post that really kind of threw me off a little bit. I didn't get it at first, and then I kind of was like, "What?" And it says PJ Washington has signed his baby mama Brittany Renner to an 18-year deal which pays $200K a month. The sources tell ESPN, and I was like, "What? What? We signing baby mamas now? What did she go? Did she make the All-Star game or like what's going on?" And so I dug into it, and that's when I reached out to Jeff to try to. And my Instagram, by the way, this my Instagram. If you like intelligent conversations, follow me on Instagram. But yeah, so I saw this, right, and so here's what I did, right, in terms of trying to figure out what it really might look like. And so I looked up PJ Washington's salary in the NBA. He makes about $4 million a year. And then I just did a quick Google search, like, about what percentage does child support take out of your check? And in the state of Illinois where I live, they take about 50% of your total adjusted gross income that you make together, right? So he makes $4 million a year. She makes maybe whatever an Instagram model makes, right? It's probably it could be a decent amount of money, especially if she, linking up with rich dudes or whatever. But let's make the assumption that her income is much lower than his, right? So if you take that $4 million and chop it in half, you're talking about $2 million a year, and $2 million a year is about $166,000 a month. Now, here's the crazy thing, though. The average NBA player, after they sign that second contract after 3 years, now you're going from $4 million a year to what number you think he might hit, Jeff?
Easily 15 to 20. Easily between. So say $20 million. Say $20 million a year, and that's on the low end. That's on the low end.
The average NBA player in 2019. Now this is 2019. No, okay. So let me go. Okay, 2019 was 8.3 million. But to your point, though, you're saying that you think he might make as much as, like, did you say 15?
Yeah, easily. Well, because we're talking about a first round pick too. Like the average
Oh.
salary takes in second round guys that are signed off the G League, whatever. Like PJ's an ascending player, a guy who's gonna get a deal that's gonna be like 4 years, $80 million. Like that sounds about right for a guy like PJ Washington. And yeah, I believe it'll be like,
well, let me ask you this. Do you think what do you think of the odds of PJ being the let's say he signs his new deal, Jeff. So you're the sports expert. You know more about sports than 99% of the people out here. What do you think are his odds of being in the top 80 salaries in the NBA?
Yeah, I can see it.
Could you see that? Okay, so pay attention, y'all. So I want y'all to listen. Guess what the 80th highest player in the NBA made last year? His name is Jonas Valanciunas. Thank you. I can't pronounce that shit, but it's interesting, right? He made $14 million a year. So I knew Jeff would have that number. Jeff has been a human encyclopedia for most of his life. I know his mama, and his mama's smart too. She's an accountant, so I think it's got to be genetic. So 14. Now, so if I take that same logic, that same math we just did, and you take the 14 million and you divide it by 2, and then you assume it's over 12 months, you're talking about $580,000 a month, assuming he doesn't become, an all-star and start making big money off the court in addition to on the court.
Yeah, because it's just NBA salary. Because all NBA players, are the good ones at least, get some sort of shoe deal. Pretty much all of them get a shoe deal. But you're talking about the big money in the shoe deal. So we're just talking about one stream of income, essentially, where NBA players normally have multiple.
Wow. Everybody, I'm talking to Jeff Lightsy Jr., and we are talking about PJ Washington, the NBA player, and his baby mama, if you want, whatever term you want to use, Brittany Renner, and the fact that allegedly she was plotting to basically get pregnant by an athlete in order to make a lot of money. And now that's all kind of being discussed. And I wanted to talk about it again, not because I want to make fun of him or her or anything. What people do is their business. It's more so about talking about how your relationships matter when it comes to protecting your wealth. Wealth protection is critical, and you got to protect yourself from bad situations. So if you're a guy that's, putting your into every pretty girl that walks by, you're taking a risk. Every time you do that, you're literally taking a risk. You're playing Russian roulette with your legacy, with your economic future, not just with your body. Again, that's your choice, but there's a risk there. And also, in fact, actually, that's one of the reasons why we actually did a recent film called Till Death Do Us Part, which is about Black family and Black legacy and how that builds into something better. And so we're actually showing the film for free. If you want to watch it, we're going to actually show part 2 tonight at 8 p.m. Tierra KJ Williams is the director. If you want to join us, you can actually watch it for free. You don't have to pay a penny. It's blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. So register at blackmovienight.net and join us tonight, because, the thing about it is that, I'm going to tell you, if you ever want to really go broke, give me a yes or no. You want to know how to really go broke? Give me a yes if you want me to tell you the secret to making sure that you stay a broke ass Negro for your whole entire life. If you ever really want to go broke, here's the secret. Either get a bunch of baby daddies or a bunch of babies mamas. Like, become a baby mama and like a 3-4 time baby mama, or become a 3-4 time baby daddy. All the statistics. Now, don't get me wrong. Brittany Renner is not in that category, right? She got lucky. She went ahead and she got her guy that's going to take care of her or whatever financially. Maybe she'll have another baby with another athlete. So it sounds like even with her, she's picking her investments wisely. You got it. Like they said, you got to be this tall to get on the ride. Your income got to be this tall to get on that ride, right? Like she's setting her own definition of what she sees as a standard. I'm not even judging that. That's just what she does, right? I wouldn't pick a woman like that, but whatever, right? That's what people do. But a lot of people don't do that, right? They're not picking on any criteria, right? A guy sees a pretty girl, oh, I gotta go hit that. Okay, you go do that. That might cost you though. Cheap women are very expensive. Cheap women are the most expensive that there are. And then also you see women that will let any old dusty dude lay down in the bed with them, maybe because you're feeling lonely on a Friday night. Next thing you know, your children are traumatized because the daddy ain't shit, right? And so ultimately, I'm just telling you guys, that family management piece is critically important. I will say that, when I decided to get married, pay attention now. I waited. First of all, I was like, when I was his age, I was like, I'm not trying to put myself in a scenario unless I'm 100% sure that that's really going to work for me. So I did take my time. But then too, when I got married, my wife had her own money. Right. So if you have money, if you are wealthy, and Jeff, I'd like your thoughts on anything that I just said. But if you get to the point where you got a lot of money, you notice, pay attention now. Do y'all ever notice how when people rise up the economic ladder, they kind of change their circle? Magic Johnson's talked about that. He said, look, I can't, if you down here, I can't, I'm trying to be here. I can't be here with you. Right. And it sounds snobby or whatever. It sounds like you're being uppity, but you can't. If you have a lot to lose, you can't really be doing too much entangling with people that have nothing to lose. So basically what I'm saying is that when you get something to protect, if you get with somebody else that's also protecting their own stuff, then you're less likely to get screwed than you are when you are literally sitting there on a pile of money and you're dealing with somebody who's flat broke. That's literally like having a big, gigantic buffet of food and your best friend is like hungry and obese. Like a hungry fat person is going to eat every piece of food on that table, even if they promise you that they're not. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on what I just said?
No, absolutely. You brought up two things. One, you said you talked about Magic. I remember Magic who was doing this. He was doing an interview with Maverick Carter, who was the business partner of LeBron James. And what LeBron James is doing. I mean, he's a billionaire, and Magic is worth a couple $100 million. And Magic said, well, now that I'm up here, the deal's got to be up here. I can't talk and I can't associate myself with people that's down here because now I'm lowering myself. I'm lowering my value. I'm lowering who I am. Like, you don't know. If you want to talk, if you want to conversate, if you want to make some noise, we got to do it up here. We got to do it at a higher level. Also, it reminded me of your conversation you had the other day with Dr. Frazier. Dr. Frazier kind of said something similar. He's like, man, you're building a web. Right? His whole concept of that video that you showed on the channel was building a web. And your web, when you build it, you become stronger. And your unit has to be people that are willing to work and people that are willing to build that web. You can't have babies, mamas, and babies, daddies, or whoever that aren't trying to build towards something, right? Like that is just holding you back. That's like starting all over every time you get something good. Whether you're PJ Washington, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Jeff Lightsy Jr., like you're building something and somebody just come and ripping it and you having to start all over again. Now, luckily for PJ, he'll be okay. But the fact is, you don't want to have anything unnecessary dead weight. Dr. Frazier also talked about being around people that are smarter than you. I don't know who's in PJ's circle, but the fact that nobody was smarter than him to let him know, hey, man, this probably isn't the right move, or maybe they did. I don't know. But he has to be around better people that are going to guide him towards the right thing. And the same with anybody that's watching it. When you associate with people who have something that you want to have or smarter than you, or that's going to help elevate you, then you're going to be a better person from it. There's no way around if and or buts around it. Like, you are going to be a better person.
Well, I'll tell you what, I agree with you 100%. And I think that when you're talking about, about this situation, what was really, what made me really feel bad for the poor guy is when he saw that video where basically Brittany Renner effectively just says, if you ever want to get ahead financially, you want to go get money, go get an athlete to get you pregnant. Like, and she actually talks about athletes not using protection. And if you even recall, RIP to Kobe Bryant, but I remember I was kind of surprised to hear that he slept with that lady in Colorado without protection. Now, again, I think rape is something you have to prove, but we ain't got to prove that they had sex. They pretty much confessed to that, right? They both, I just think you have to prove when you accuse somebody of something as terrible as rape. So that's why I was a fan of Kobe being left alone. But, to me, I thought about this idea that if you're talking about laying down with women who've literally been with hundreds, maybe thousands of men, and then also remember, as a man, you got a wife at home. You bring whatever you get, you're bringing that home. People don't know, like, that's how they kill roaches. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but like the roach motels, that's what they do. They'll put the poison out and they'll get the head of whoever's the hunter gatherer in the little roach family that goes out and gets the food. He'll go and grab the poison food and he'll bring the poison back to the nest. And that's how they kill the whole family. So for the Black community, you got to understand that sometimes we go out into the world and we grab poison, whether it's spiritual poison or physical poison or whatever kind of poison, and we bring that back to the family. That's why that role of a man being the head of a household is such an important role, because there's a lot of situations where a man making bad choices has destroyed the family. Some people in here, give me a yes in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all are in families that are absolutely obliterated because the head of the household didn't take his job responsibly, right? And so I think that, I mean, don't get me wrong, we can't let Brittany off the hook. I mean, you know, I mean, I'm looking at it like, well, they played a game. They played a stupid game, and she won the stupid game. You know, he's playing the big booty game. He's chasing, you know, the whatever she got going on, you know, physically, and she was chasing what he had going on in his pocket. Right. And I think that overall, it's unfortunate to me. Tell me about this. What do you know about PJ's parents? I mean, does he have a mother and a father, like maybe a dad that could have talked to him about some of this stuff?
I don't know much about his family life. From what I understand, I believe both his parents are still together, and I believe that they, you know, he had his family unit is intact. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but just from some of the things that I've seen and kind of read, that yeah, he has a stable family at home, but you know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, he's still young. And I always revert back to that LeVar Ball saying. He was like, man, my sons will never find a good woman. I mean, for whatever reason. He said because the fact that they can't go the traditional route. They can't go find a woman at a library or at a church because they are, you know, the Ball brothers. They're LaMelo, Lonzo, and LiAngelo. And I'm their dad, LeVar. Because they are now public figures. And not only are they public figures, they're 6'6", you know what I mean, across the board, and they're really, really good at basketball. They'll never be able to find a good woman. Now, you can agree to disagree, but a lot of that does ring true because wherever you go, you are going to run into Brittany Renners. Like, it's going to be very, very hard to determine whether they're genuine or not, especially when you're under the age of 25. All his sons are under 25. They're not really, like, the oldest one I want to say is like 23 or 22. So yeah, it's really tough out here, man. It's tough.
Well, you know what? What you said, that point you just made, you know what it made me think about, actually? It made me think about a guy that we know by the name of LeBron James, right? And LeBron is it came to mind because, you know, if you look at LeBron and you see him there, you see him in this picture with his beautiful wife. You know, the thing is, what is his wife? Her name is not Sabrina. What is it? Savannah. Yeah, his beautiful wife Savannah, who's and recently LeBron went out and you know, he did that what they call some of these weak guys call that simping, but he went out and simped for his wife and said, I wouldn't be who I am without my wife. And let me just explain to you why that was some real grown man shit in my view, because LeBron's strategic. LeBron is smart. You know, LeBron, he built $1 billion by using his brain. His body was important for sure, but there have been other great athletes that had tremendous skill. You and I know guys right out of our home city of Louisville who could have been LeBron if they thought like LeBron. Like, you may not even remember, Jeff, a guy named Tony Kimbrough. You remember Tony Kimbrough out of Louisville?
Yeah. His son was in high school when I was in high school. So yeah.
Yeah, Tony Kimbrough was right up there with LeBron. I mean, top of the world, recruited by everybody. #1 player in the country as a junior in high school. Could have been LeBron, but he didn't have this, right? There's other guys. We can go down the list just from our city alone. Every city, though, has its own Tony Kimbroughs or potential LeBrons that didn't pan out. So what's strategic and what's powerful about what LeBron said? Well, first off, notice that Savannah is not a Brittany Renner. You know, LeBron didn't meet Savannah after, you know, as he's walking off the court after a big game, you know, what she said, that was really, that you were so good. No, he didn't meet her in the stands. He met her in high school. He met her back when, don't get me wrong, back then he was still a star. He had potential. He's on ESPN as a high school kid, right? So it wasn't like he was an average guy, but this is that way back when type of girl that knew you before you became rich and famous and everything else. There's a value to that. My wife knew me before I became Dr. Boyce Watkins, whatever that means to people. She was surprised. She said, Boyce, why are all these people stopping you to ask for an autograph? Why are people trying to take pictures with you, Boyce? And I'm telling people right now that gives that's a type of security you have when you know where she's coming from. You know why she is interested in you. It's not just because of what you have or whatever. And so what, but here's the thing, right? I disagree with LeVar Ball when he says they'll never meet a good woman, because studies show that women are naturally and biologically over 100,000 years of evolution naturally linked to men or attracted to men that have more resources and more power. I always use giraffes as an example. Even female giraffes, y'all might not know this. Tell me if you know this or not. Even female giraffes are more likely to mate with male giraffes who have the most territory. Female does, female doe, a deer, a female deer, female deers, when they look to go mate when it's mating season and they're starting to feel all ready to do the thing, they go search out the buck that is in the center of the pack. So they look for a pack of men. They all roll in groups like gangs, and they look for the buck in the very middle, because the one in the very middle is the one who's holding down that central territory that all the other bucks wish they could have, but that they can't. They're not strong enough to maintain that. So the guy who's holding down the resources is the one that the female is attracted to. That's why the athletes and the wealthy people and the powerful people are considered the most attractive. So this is all natural. This is no different from the way men are attracted to women with pretty hair, nice legs, a nice booty, nice breasts, all the things that men like. And we don't criminalize men for that. We don't say, oh, you're a bad person because you're attracted to a woman's body. If that was a crime, then I went to prison a long time ago, right? Because believe me, my wife I told her your brain was the first thing I noticed, and then there was other things I noticed after that. That's what made me fall in love, right? So that's all okay. So the same way. So think about this, right? So if I say that a woman is a gold digger just because she respects the fact that I'm financially secure, that's like saying that a man is a sexual predator because he appreciates a woman's body. That is not true. That is absolutely untrue. And I hope everybody in the chat gets what I'm saying here on this. But what is true in my view is that there's a line. There's kind of a very subtle difference between the gold digger and the woman who just respects the fact that you're a medical doctor who makes $500,000 a year, right? The gold digger is the one where if you stop making the $500,000, she's going to walk away. That's the problem athletes run into, right? Because you'll get these women that really, 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 really want you to keep making that money. And when you don't have that money, you're not interesting to them anymore. You're not attractive anymore because she can go find another broke, dusty dude from the projects that's 6'5" or whatever, right? That like all that's not, so I think that's what the difference is. And really the only way to get around that in my view, man, is people got to take time to get to know people before you start having sex with them and making babies and shit. Like, how are you going to lay down with somebody that you just met 3 hours ago and on Instagram? You've done the proper vetting. You haven't done the proper vetting. Same thing's true with women. You laid down with this dude, you knew him for a week, and now y'all got all these other things going on. Well, a lot of times if you get to know people over a long period of time, they will tell you who they are. Absolutely. Cause pay attention now. Here's the point. I'm gonna be quiet. I want you to respond on that. Pay attention. Give me a yes or no. If you agree with the statement? If PJ had dated this girl for a while, maybe just checked her out from a distance, like said, okay, I'm PJ Washington. I'm about to go make these millions. I got to make sure that I vet anybody that I let get close to me. If he had watched her for a little while, do you think that he would have eventually maybe seen that video that's all over the internet? This lady has 4.6 million followers on Instagram, and I'm seeing stuff in the chat where people said that she was Colin Kaepernick's side chick. If PJ had taken his time, do you think that he would have eventually found these things out? Yes or no? So that's the key, everybody. That's the key. It's just like investing. The best investors do their research. So the most important thing you can invest in another person is your life, your energy, your body, your spirit. You invest in all these things in this person. Do your damn research. People don't do their research. Oh, she looked good. Man, you see that ass, dog? I'm going to go hit that. She let me hit it on the first date. No, she didn't give you a gift. She cursed your dumb ass because you have been chasing the lady that you just met just because she got a nice booty. Are you serious? And you really think that's going to work out for you? It's not, especially when you have a lot to lose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, it's like you can't, it's like, everybody knows there's a girl that's easy, right? There's a girl that loves to jump from athlete to athlete, hooper to hooper, football player to football player, or even scholar to scholar, right? But you don't wife that woman, right? Like, you don't, like, that's not a woman that you take home to mom. That's not a woman that you try to start a family with. That's not a woman because as soon as y'all become to a disagreement or whatever, she's gonna move on to the next hooper or basketball player or football player or whatever anyway, right? Like, so you're talking about people saying that she was with Colin Kaepernick and now she's with PJ Washington, and then once this is become a thing and it's gone, it's gonna be on somebody else. You know what I mean? Somebody replace her the Lakers. You know what I mean? It's gonna go from the Hornets to the Lakers, or somebody to place for the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers or something. Like, you can't, like, you just have to be just like how she was strategic or is very strategic on who she's dating or who she's having babies with or whatever she's doing. As a man, you have to be strategic on who you lay down with as well. So, like, that is just the thing with PJ, especially when you're worth millions of dollars. Like, the average man should be very, very strategic and very, very, cautious about who he lays down with for a number of reasons, not just the financial reasons, just the health reason, right? Like, you laying down, putting your thing and everything, and you could walk away with a whole bunch of health problems as well. But also, when you're worth millions of dollars, and this could potentially, if everything goes, if everything is true, this could cost PJ millions of dollars in the long run. It could cost millions of dollars in the long run, and also he could end up having a sort of resentment towards a part of his family, because now he does have a child with this woman, right? Like, so there could be some animosity, and the person who loses in the long run, honestly, is the kid. The kid who had nothing to do with anything could be the person who ends up losing in the long run, because his dad hates his mom getting paid off his dad, and all of their business is out there on the internet, and it never goes away. Once it's out there, it'll never go away. And this kid who's just born can be 25 years old 25 years from now and be reading about stories and seeing videos about how his mom could have potentially tricked his dad into having him, which ended up being the baby.
So, everybody, I'm talking to Jeff Lightsy Jr. from the Black Boss channel, and we're talking about PJ Washington and his a child's mother, Brittany Renner, and how it appears that Brittany might have been running the game on him in order to get access to the millions of dollars. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, share this video with anybody that needs to hear this conversation. This is real men talk in terms of what we should really be discussing about this, rather than being reactive when things go wrong. Maybe being proactive and intelligent about it is the solution. So if you could, please hit the thumbs up button right now, whatever platform you're on, and we would appreciate that very much. So let me just lay out a thought too. I saw somebody that made an interesting point. Somebody made a comment early when I was saying that maybe taking the time to vet people before you lay down with them is a solution. And one guy, and I hear his point. He said that's not realistic. What he said, what I described is not realistic, and I completely get that. Oh, fine. I mean, that's what people feel. I understand that. That maybe it's not. Sex is a very powerful feeling, and lust, and all these other things. And even love is a really strong emotion. One of the greatest forces in the universe. And so I understand why it would be hard to do, and I totally get that. And one thing I'll submit to you though is this. Anybody who thinks it would have been impossible or really just too difficult for PJ to take the time to vet the women that he lets into his space should ask themselves this question: how much focus, patience, time, and attention does it take to become one of the best basketball players in the entire world? Like I mean, you're telling me he doesn't have enough ability to focus. He doesn't have the discipline to focus on what women he lets in his life. But pay attention now. It's not because he's not a disciplined person, because anybody knows, Jeff will be the first to tell you, I assume you'll agree, that to become an NBA player, you've got to be very, very disciplined. Absolutely. You got to be extremely committed to your craft. You got to be very consistent and dedicated. You have to be very patient in terms of doing the same thing every single day, put in maybe 50,000 hours of work to become a player of that caliber, and then you still might not make it. You still might not get to the NBA, right? So don't tell me that. Don't tell me that he doesn't have the discipline to do that. No, what you're seeing is the culture. Also, don't tell me the lady Brittany. I'm looking for that video. Maybe Jeff, you can find the link to the video where she's talking about how athletes are dumb. And
check your Twitter. Should be in on your Twitter messages.
In my Twitter messages. Okay, I'm gonna check.
I sent it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pull that video up. But also, when she said athletes are dumb, here's the thing I'm gonna lay out to you guys. Most of the athletes, at least the NBA players I know, are not dumb. They're very intelligent people. Because think about this: you can't be stupid and and understand some of these complex offensive and defensive schemes. They in football, I remember, you know why I couldn't play football, Jeff? I was a great sprinter. I was strong, I always had muscles, and I could run fast. So they always recruited me for the football team because I was faster than every single player on the Ballard High School football team. Our football team sucked, but I was the fastest player on that team. The reason I couldn't play football, I'm not making this up, is because I could not understand the plays. The offense was too complex. They gave me this big old playbook, and it's like, okay, 44 blasts this way, and there's X's and O's everywhere, and I'm looking at it, and my ADHD's kicking in. I'm like, I can't learn all this shit. So literally, I would just not know what to do. So the coach couldn't put me in because I didn't know the plays. Now think about this. I'm a college professor now, right? I'm pretty smart, right? But I couldn't. Football just didn't. I couldn't. Wasn't smart enough. So don't tell me athletes are stupid. They're not stupid. The problem is that your culture is stupid. You're in a stupid culture. You're not dumb. They dumb you down. If you listen to the music that people consume, there's a deep connection between sports and hip hop. That's why a lot of rappers and athletes are friends. That's why Jay-Z and LeBron are cool. That's why Tupac hung out with Mike Tyson. That's wwhy, you go back and there's always these alliances between Drake and LeBron, and just all these rappers are always hanging out with the athletes. I saw James Harden on stage with Lil Wayne or somebody, right? So all these rappers and athletes roll together. So the cultures overlap. And let me just tell you, hip-hop is a stupid fucking culture. Excuse my French. Hip-hop is a dumb culture. Why is it a dumb culture? It's not dumb because the artists aren't brilliant. They're brilliant lyrically. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of the messages being implanted in the subconscious mind of the black male are very, very self-destructive. We talked about this before, so I won't belabor this point. But if you go and you analyze any of these songs, because I'm an analytical, I break it down. If you analyze the music and you're planting seeds in the subconscious minds of people. Again, my wife is an expert on the subconscious mind. We talk about this a lot. You're planting seeds into the subconscious mind of young black men that you should have as much sex with as many nasty women as you can, that you should throw away your money, just trick it off to whoever you can give it to, Jake the jeweler or whatever, right? That's what the rappers like to go to, like to give the money to Jake the jeweler and Gucci and all this other stuff. People that don't even like your black butt. You're not supposed to respect women. You're supposed to hate women, right? That's a very anti-family message, right? You don't honor and love the black woman, right? In the 60s, they used to sing songs about like, baby, I love you, and can I walk you home from school and all that. Now it's like, oh, sit down, bitch, blah, blah, blah. Like just all this crazy.
You're simping if you do that. You're simping, right, Doc?
Yeah, like you're simping, like being nice. You mean being nice to a woman who's gonna be somebody's mama? Like that's simping. I'll treat a woman the way I would want somebody to treat my mama. Even if I don't like her, that don't mean I gotta be mean to her. But people don't get that anymore, right? You keep going down the list, and you literally are seeing a recipe for self-destruction. So this spills over into the culture. When I was at University of Kentucky, where PJ went to school and played basketball, did I ever tell you, Jeff, I used to work in the Wildcat Lodge where the basketball players live?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Let me tell you the story, and then I want you to talk because I'm talking too much. But when I worked in the Wildcat Lodge, this was this fancy, like it was like a luxury hotel basically that they created for the basketball players. Like they live different from the rest of us. We didn't. We
always still do. It's no different now.
Like today, right? Kentucky basketball players are treated like royalty on the campus. So I worked in this building, the Wildcat Lodge, and I was the guy who would sign people in and sign people out. So anybody that came in the building had to sign, I made them sign, and I knew who came in and who came out. I would see the girls come in. There'd be certain players, a lot of them were black, right? And a lot of white girls, a lot of these groupies would come through. And I would see one groupie come in at 9. She leaves at 10:30. Then another groupie comes in about 11:30. She leaves at 1. Right. And I just remember thinking, man, there's a lot of women coming through here. And they were white women. And that just wasn't interesting to me, right? I've always thought black women have a special sauce that nobody else can match. So the white girls didn't do it. It wasn't like I envied it. And I was like, oh, I wish I had white girls chase me. But I remember just thinking, wow, there's a lot of girls like in the lives of these guys. And as I got older and I reflect on that, I think about the fact that there are people that just, are kind of trained to do that. And that really, it puts you at risk. That's the thing, like you think that you're getting lucky, you think you're getting all these great opportunities, but really you're kind of letting a lot of bad energy into your space. You're letting a lot of people into your space who don't care nothing about you, and you end up looking like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about Deshaun Watson. What's his latest on that?
So with Deshaun Watson, his cases still aren't settled, but it makes you think that they're headed towards that direction because he has reported to training camp. And the biggest reason why he probably reported to training camp, because every day he would have missed out on $50,000, right? Like he would have got fined 50 grand every time he would have missed a day. And he needs every penny he can get right now because he has over 20 sexual assault cases that even if he settles them, right, Doc? I'm not a math person. You're a math person. Say if every woman gets 100 grand, right? If you settle it where every woman, so what's 22 times 100,000? Like you get that is probably how much money he'll end up. And that's me just being.
He could that's like 2.2 million, right?
2.2 million. So that's why you can't get fined. And that's if they settle for 2.2 million. That's me saying every woman gets 100,000. If every woman gets 150,000 or 200,000, now we're doubling that, right? So that's why he couldn't afford to miss any days of training camp. But he is at Texans training camp right now. He's practicing with the team, but the team has said they're looking for trades basically to try to wipe their hands clean with Deshaun Watson because his situation is still lingering. And that's not to say he doesn't get suspended from the NFL, right? Scott, I think Deshaun Watson is going to at least get suspended 6 to 8 games. I think that's the bare minimum. I don't see anything where he does not miss any time this season. So if he misses 8 games and they take his salary away or reduce it drastically, we're talking about a $39 million salary cut in half because the NFL season is 17 games. So we're talking about cutting that in half. So going from 39 million to about 20 million or 19 million, that's just a big difference.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So Deshaun will still get a chance to play in the league, but he may be suspended by the league, and there's some teams that are either going to not want him or they're going to reduce the amount that they'll pay him. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And so it's one of those interesting things where you you think, okay, if Deshaun's guilty, then that's a different conversation, right? Then he's getting off light as far as I'm concerned. He's not going to jail, right? But if he's innocent, and I know a lot of people want to believe anytime a black man is accused of anything, he was set up. Some people are not set up, right? So you never know, right? You never know one way or the other. But if he's innocent, then you're talking about a situation where you have to ask yourself, sure, you could just go the victim route, right? Black people we're trained very well on being victims. We're really good at being at seeing ourselves as victims in every context. So you could just say it just happened. Nothing you can do about it. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. It could happen to you, right? And I'm not gonna belabor that point. I'll just say this: if you are selective about the women that you're in private with, then that probably definitely significantly reduces the likelihood that people can accuse you of things.
Minimize risk. You're minimizing risk.
Yeah, and this is something that maybe people haven't had enough time to think about this, but I think about everything for a long time. And I still remember our friend Ice Cube, who's come on this platform many times. He's a friend to the platform, and I respect him. He had a great song a long time ago that I listened to when I was a little older than you. It was great to become his friend because I've been a fan of his for a long time. And he had this song from the 90s called Ass Over Cash. And the whole premise of the song was that you have men who think with their penises, and then you have men who think like bosses. And what he was basically saying is that when you are out here engaged in what might be called simp behavior, to me, simping, that word simping can be used in this context. To me, a simp is not a guy who loves a woman, right? Because if you love the right woman, then you're a good man. There's nothing wrong with being a good man. To me, a simp is a person who allows the physical and emotional vulnerability of a lack of sexual discipline to put you into really stupid ass situations that you never would have been in if you had been thinking on a more intelligent level. So simping to me would be, I'll give you one example. I know a lot of cops, and one thing that I heard from the cops is that they one way that they solve a lot of crimes is that a guy will go and do something illegal, like kill somebody, and then he'll fall in love with a girl, and they'll be laying down and they'll start having pillow talk, and he'll feel all vulnerable and stuff, and he'll be like, well, I got something I got to tell you, but I haven't told anybody. And then next thing you know, they break up, because she catches him with another girl, so she gets revenge and she goes to the cops. They said they solve a lot of murders that way, actually, right? So that taught me that if you ever do anything, like if you ever kill somebody, I told my wife, I said, if I ever kill somebody, you'll never know. And, she said, but if you ever kill somebody, I'll help you bury the body, right? That's a ride or die. I was like, thank you, baby, I appreciate that. But just so you know, I'm not gonna involve you, right? And the second thing, when you talk about that simping thing, it's like another definition of that, in my view, is when you are so quick to go lay down with any pretty girl that walks by that you make yourself vulnerable. And this is a true story. This is real stuff. I'm not, I don't live in the theoretical world. The theory only helps you if it helps you understand the practical. So I heard a story from a lady who was a butt doctor who used to work, or she would work for a butt doctor that would give injections to strippers. I might have told you the story because it happened when Lawrence Taylor got accused of sleeping with the underage hooker. And one thing that she said is that her friends would strategically plan how they could get men to go lay down with them. They pretty much just said men are stupid. Men will just, if they think you're cute, they'll lay down with you or whatever. So what they would do is one of the girls is real pretty. This true story, y'all. I'm not making this up. She worked for a kingpin in Baltimore. And what her boyfriend in prison would do is he would give her orders from prison, and he would have a rival gang member he wanted to kill. And he would say, here's what I want you to do. He goes to this barbershop. I want you to come in there, wear a tight outfit, show your booty. He's a sucker for a pretty girl. And then I want you to get him back to the hotel, get him naked, where he's not, he's vulnerable. And then we're going to go in there, we're going to kill him. And that's literally how they actually did their murders. This is not making this stuff up. So to me, if you were to use that word simp in the right context, that to me would be the definition. It's when a man allows the things that he wants to tempt him into situations that make him vulnerable and causes him to lose the defense of what he's got, what he's supposed to protect. Like a man's supposed to protect his kids. He's supposed to protect his woman. He's supposed to protect his wealth. And so if you allow people to pull you into sucker situations, like, oh, there's another pretty girl, I got to sleep with her too, then you're gonna lose it all. You're not gonna be able to protect anything, in my view. So Jeff, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And like you said, it kind of goes back to what you were saying. It's the hip hop culture, it not just influencing the athletes, but influencing the modern day black man, right? Like when you get your favorite artist, your favorite rapper, your favorite whoever tell you go out here and sleep with as many hoes as possible, make it rain in the club, blow all your wealth, just put babies in whoever, don't pull out, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that influences the culture. And so not just athletes with millions of dollars, but Tommy Joe down the street who got $20 to his name. You know what I mean? And it creates this cycle of our people where this guy who wants to live like the rappers or whatever, think he got a whole bunch of women, sleeps with a woman, has a baby with a woman, but he don't got $20 to his name. So obviously he's not going to take care of the kid. And now you have a single mom who we know what that does to black women's, single mom, black wealth. We know what that, that's like the bottom of the bottom, right? And now you have another child who doesn't have a daddy, right? So if it's a woman, she has daddy issues. If it's a son, he ends up being just like his daddy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Or the chances of him being just like his daddy are higher, very significant. So like it creates this constant cycle. It's all just very disturbing. And it's these are the chains that we have to continue to break, and listening to platforms like this and going out here doing studying and really being like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this. I ain't going out like no sucker, like no, because those, like you said, those kind of people are the real simps, the ones not taking care of their families, the ones are not projecting great energy and putting, financial literacy at the forefront, putting their woman at the forefront, putting their family at the forefront of everything that they do. Those are the real simps. And those are the people that are creating even more simps, right? They're creating.
Right. Your son's going to be just like you because he's got a weak daddy. Yeah. So I agree 100%, and so let me read a comment here. I want to say, first of all, everybody hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. We are still talking about PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. And, but I like the idea of having a broader conversation so we can become more intelligent black people as we go along. And so here's a comment. Let's see. JoJo left a $10 donation. So your comment goes on the screen. Let me read this. It says, PJ is a beta. His work ethic is alpha, but his mental maturity is beta. PJ is the beta that hoes want to marry after friend zoning him for years after they waste their 20s on guys like Future. Okay, so what do y'all think? Do you think that that men are being like? I think the thing about like Sierra and Russell Wilson, right? Where people think Russell Wilson's a sucker because he got with Sierra after she dated Future in her 20s, which clearly Future was a mistake. Future is a loser in every sense of the word, in my view. He only seems like a winner because white people pay him lots of money to poison black people. But y'all, because you're white supremacists, we have a lot of white supremacists in the building who don't even know it. You honor him because white people gave him money. That's literally it. If he had no money, you would be like, man, look at that guy. He's a drug addict. He ain't helping nobody. He ain't taking care of his kids.
He's not a drug addict, Doc. He promotes taking drugs, but he doesn't actually use drugs.
And that's even worse. That's even worse. that's even worse. So you should know what this is doing to people, but you don't care because so maybe a predator then. Maybe that's a better term. And so Russell Wilson and Future. A lot of people have said that Russell Wilson's a sucker for dating Future and loving her and taking care of her kids. What are your thoughts on that? Just that whole debate over Russell Wilson and Future, Russell Wilson and Sierra.
Well, you're allowed to make mistakes, man. Like, I mean, if we were judged by the mistakes that we made and weren't allowed to be better people, hell, I would have stopped being a better person, 15 years ago, you know what I mean? And I'm only 25, right? If I was stopped, like, you can't be better right after your first mistake, well, then you never grow, right? Sierra obviously was someone who came up in the entertainment industry, right? She was a performer, singer, songwriter, dancer, or whatever, and she got with another guy that was in the entertainment industry. And, bad judgment, early 20s, they have a child. Then after she has her child, she changes her life clearly, and her values in a man changed clearly, because to go from Future to Russell Wilson lets me know the growth in your mentality. I mean, they're nothing alike. Like, they're like, if you could find two polar opposites of people, like they're absolutely nothing alike. And the thing about Sierra and the thing about Russell, they made each other better. Like, Russell was a little corny, right? Like, Russell can be a little corny at times. He tells dad jokes, he does some stuff, but he's a superb athlete, and he's even a better husband and father is what it looks like, at least on paper. He's even better. He's like one of the top paid quarterbacks, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's an even better dad and husband. And he treats Future's son, which they ironically named Future, better than his biological dad. If you asked, I mean, I guess you wouldn't put a child on the spot, but just from what I see on social media and what's displayed, it's like Russell and Sierra have two children with each other, right? And then obviously she has the child with Future, and that they ironically named Future. He treats baby Future just as good, if not better, than his own biological children. So if you think that is some sucker stuff, some simp stuff, then I mean, you have mental problems, because the fact that he was able to accept and love that, and okay, me Sierra, if she probably wouldn't call her child a mistake, but maybe being in that relationship probably was a mistake. But the fact that she is able to grow and learn from that, I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah, well, to me, to say that Russell Wilson is a sucker for loving Future and taking care of her child. That's a lot like telling a woman that you're a sucker for dating a guy who went to prison. And sometimes that is a bad choice if he still has a prison mentality, right? If he's still thinking like an inmate, then yeah, that's a bad choice. But there are a lot of guys, I know a lot of men who have done time in prison who came out as better men than the average man, not even better than most inmates. I'm talking about better than most people. Like some of the guys. Anybody ever know a guy that goes to prison and literally comes out and he's smarter than a college professor? Because
last I checked, Malcolm X went to prison, right? Am I wrong? Is that true? I mean, I'm just making sure. Like,
there you go, Detroit Red. Detroit Red
went to prison. Like, last I checked.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So sometimes, I mean, women don't go to prison as much as men, but sometimes women can go to relationship prison, or they can go to emotional prison. And sometimes they come out with, after enduring the same type of abuse that you feel when you're in prison. I mean, if anybody's ever been, anybody in here ever like know what can think about that feeling of being in like a terrible relationship where it feels like prison and you get out and you can suddenly breathe better because you literally feel like an inmate who's been let out of their cell, and so, I think that is just kind of an interesting way of looking at the world. I mean, clearly people have a right to choose who they want to be with. But one of the things I think that guys want to think about is you can't go choosing the women you date based on what other people are going to think about your relationship. You know, like when a guy says like when I married my wife, I wanted to marry a woman my same age. You know, I could have married a younger woman. There are women everywhere. There's a lot of them. Very nice, very pretty, very smart, all age ranges. That's one of the perks that come with having a little bit of status or whatever. But I wanted a woman that was closer to my age so she would understand me. I wanted a smart woman by my side because I wanted a good teammate who was a tough person who could help me think better and just become a better human being and challenge me to improve the areas where I was very weak. And I remember I had guys that almost got offended by that. Like almost like they were like, you could have done so much better. You could have got you a 30-year-old. Why you gonna marry a woman your age? I'm like, that's what I wanted to do, you asshole. Like, why are you? And I'm not picking my wife based on your criteria. Like, what? She's not an accessory. She's not a new car. You know, but then again, when I pick a car, I don't pick a car because I'm trying to impress you. I've impressed enough people. I don't need to impress you. My ego is intact. You know, like my self-esteem is solid, man. I don't need you to say, "Way to go, bro," for me to feel like I'm making.
You don't need to go show off. You don't need to go show off.
I don't need to show off. People that need to show off are reflecting the deep-seated insecurity that they need. They need that external validation so they can feel better about themselves. So I think that with Russell Wilson, what I like about Russell and Future, or somebody Russell and Sierra, not Future. I don't like Future. Future's put him to the side. What I like about Russell is that Russell says, I don't need to prove to you that I'm a real man. I play for the fucking Seattle Seahawks. I get chased down the field by 350-pound linemen who are 6'5" and run a 40-yard dash, right? Like I play against steroid-infused athletes on a daily basis, and I've won Super Bowls. You haven't done that. My contract is at least what, 100 million, 200 million? How much?
He makes about $38 million a year just from Seattle. Now he's got endorsements out the wazoo, by the way. But he gets about almost 40 million a year just from playing football.
Right. So what I like about Russell's like, I make more money in a week than most of y'all punks make in a 5-year period. I don't need to prove anything to you. So you know what their revenge is on the world? That I think this is why I think that couple is so awesome is. Russell and Sierra's revenge is we're just going to get on Instagram and show you how happy we are as you live through your crappy, dysfunctional life. You go out here and keep looking up the guys like Future. I mean, every time you see Future, any story that you find anywhere on the internet, I challenge y'all to do this. Any story you find on the internet about Future involving his children is a negative story. I promise you. Let's take that bet. Go look on the internet and look up any story involving Future and his kids. Because I think he had one situation where he was at his son's birthday party. He threatened to kill his mother in front of the baby or something. Some old stuff that's like completely reflective of every negative stereotype that exists about Black people. You know, so I think that when you get to the point where you're honoring the wrong things, you got to understand you're really killing yourself because it's very anti-community, it's anti-family, it's anti-Black people, right? That's what the Klan wants. They want you to hate each other. They want you to kill each other. They want your children to not exist. That's what they do. So, Jeff, by the way, man, I was planning on having a prolonged conversation, so you can hang out. If you got to go, you can go.
I'm good to go, man.
Okay, great. All right, so do me a favor, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. And also, if you're into healthy, intelligent Black people, we actually have a new movie called Till Death Do Us Part, directed by Tierra K.J. Williams, which is an extension of our Black Love Blueprint series. I told you guys we need to have a Black-owned movie industry. We don't just talk about it. We are about it. We're actually doing it. We've made about 6 films now. They've been seen by millions of people. So we are getting it done. And this film is for free. You can watch it totally for free. We're doing the red carpet. It's a 6-week red carpet. And we're going to show it tonight at 8 p.m. And you just register at blackmovienight.net. So register at blackmovienight.net. Bring your popcorn, bring your kids, bring your baby mama if you want to, whatever or your husband, your wife, all of that. And we're going to watch this movie and we're going to talk about healthy relationships and how to get along with each other. That's the goal of this project. So please hit the thumbs up button. So you know what I did, Jeff, man? I became an internet detective while you were breaking stuff down. And I looked up this lady, Brittany Renner, who's PJ's baby's mama. And I looked up her Instagram, right? So here's her Instagram, right? And there she is riding a horse, I guess, for whatever reason. And here's another picture. So apparently she takes pictures. I guess they call these thirst pics. to basically get her 4 million fans. I'm sure 98% of them are men. And let's see.
It's cleaned up a lot. I've seen Brittany Renner's pictures before and after her kid, or before and after she got pregnant. It's a lot different now. Go back, Doc. Go back.
Okay.
Go back to the picture with the other woman.
Look at this. Look at this. It looks like did she like kind of like what do they call it when you scrape or clean your social media?
Yeah, she cleaned it all up. It's all.
Wow.
It's like 6 pictures on there. But what are those pictures that you showed with her, another woman, and that other woman holding her baby? And this is, like I said, all the signs are there for PJ to stay away from this woman. That woman that was holding her baby is a lady by the name of Tiana Trump. Now, caution for those who look up the name Tiana Trump. Tiana Trump is a porn star, right? So like that is. So that's why it's like. You got to be smart about these things, PJ. Like everybody, yeah, this woman is an adult film artist, is what we're gonna call her. She works in the adult film industry, and she's sitting there holding this kid's baby. This is her friend. This is who she hangs out with. You just gotta be careful, man. You just gotta be smart about it.
Wow. So she's okay. So she's in a relationship with this girl, like. Is she with this girl, or is it
it's just like her friend? It's just like her friend, but they hang out. You know what I mean? And like, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
That old saying holds true in a lot of ways, 99% of the time.
Well, let me just go ahead and say this then. I feel very bad for him, and the reason I'm going to go ahead and say it like that is because he didn't deserve it. He's a kid, And I know the internet's having a ball with it, but a lot of us. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you did things at the age of 18 that you'd be embarrassed to talk about right now. Like everybody, let's do a quick confessional. How many of you, when you look back at age 18, can think of things you did? I'll raise both hands because I stupid stuff. Where you were like, man, I hope nobody finds out about this, or you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, I would never do that again. And remember, the 18-year-old brain is not even fully developed. That's something that psychologists will tell you. So I really feel bad for him. I mean, man. So now it's like not only did I have a baby with this lady, but it's like she's hanging out with porn stars, and I'm gonna have this child growing up in this environment. That's got to be stressful. Even beyond the money. I mean, the money's bad enough. But now you got to find a way to get along with this person. This person's they're linked for life. She's like a big walking STD in his life. Like she's the STD you can't get rid of, right? Mm-hmm. Where literally she's gonna be there in his mix forever because he's gonna have money for the rest of his life. So she's always gonna show up where the money's at. She's gonna show up to get her steak. How do you move forward from that? How do you even build anything that's good? Because remember, you now the goal is to raise a healthy baby. That ain't gonna happen. How do you move on from that, Joe? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's tough. And then you got to imagine, like I talked about this earlier, he's only 22, right? So at some point, you're going to want to like try this again and really try to get a family and start a family, have a child or, children by another woman. But you also have to deal with that, like the baby mama drama is what people call it. So I mean, it's gonna be tough. It's not impossible. It's not impossible at all. He is definitely still very capable of having a fulfilling life with another woman that actually, love him and maybe not the money so much and love what he is as a person and not just what he does as an occupation. But it is going to be tough. We're not going to act like it's easy. But like you said, like you talked about it earlier, making it to the NBA was tough. Being one of the best people in the world at basketball was tough. And PJ wasn't like LeBron, right? Like he wasn't a phenom, right? He was really good in high school. But at Kentucky, he had to go for 2 years. Now, we know following Kentucky basketball, anybody that follows college basketball, the guys at UK don't stay 2 years most of the time. They do 1 year, the John Walls, the Anthony Davis, the Karl Anthony Towns, the Devin Bookers, all these guys. They do 1 year, and then they go make $1 million, millions of dollars in the NBA. PJ actually had to come back for his sophomore year because he wasn't as good after his freshman year. But his sophomore year, his game went to another level. So that tells you the discipline that he can take, as an athlete. He just has to apply that same discipline to his life.
Well, everybody, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. I'm talking to Jeff Lightsy Jr. from the Black Boss channel. And we're talking about PJ Washington, the NBA player, and this real interesting thing with his baby's mama. Basically, it looks like she was planning to get pregnant by an athlete from the very beginning. And so if you could please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. I found that video, by the way, Jeff, the video where she is basically saying, if athletes are stupid, get pregnant by an athlete. And so let's watch that video. I'm going to play this video. I'm going to try to share my audio real quick. Give me a second, everybody. Hopefully the audio will come through. Let me see here. All right, so I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to play it now.
First people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really done. First people to deal with.
Okay, so let's play it again. Did y'all hear that? Give me a yes if you could hear what she just said.
What are the athletes? None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really done.
Okay, so she basically said if you want to come up off a check on an athlete, or she said if you want to come up off a check, have sex with an athlete because they're really dumb.
And none of them use condoms.
Oh my God. And yeah, she did say that. She did another video where she did say that the athletes don't.
No, she said it in that one. She said none of them use condoms really. If you want to come up off a check, sleep with an athlete. Like that's literally what she said in the video. Yeah, it was all right there. She laid out the blueprint for every Instagram model, every pretty girl, every person with any kind of following, any person that has access to an athlete. You want to come up off a check, you want to make some money. This is what you can do. Laid it out there and executed the plan.
I can't take the ignorance anymore. I'm suffocating. Oh my God. The niggatry is so strong up in here right now. Oh Lord, we need some holy water for all the niggatry in the building. That is, God, man, I'm at a loss for words right now because the video. First of all, I want to thank Brittany Renner because she's changed some lives with that video. She really has. There are some intelligent people who are going to watch this video and are going to say, wait a minute, let me think about this thing real quick. Let me think about this culture that I believe in so much, and let me rethink my life. Let me make better choices. Intelligent Black people, I need intelligent Black people to see what the ignorant people are doing so you can know how to avoid them when you see them so you don't get the zombie bite. Because some of these people are just zombies. And zombies meaning they've been programmed. A zombie doesn't think. A zombie just acts on instinct. They just use that monkey brain, what they call the monkey brain, right? Zombies don't logically think through anything. Zombies, so you have a zombie virus in your community because you have people that literally live like without processing information properly. So she's.
Well, Doc, I also want to throw out there too is that being an athlete. So Brittany Renner is now in two industries, right? She was an Instagram model. That's kind of how she made a name for herself. But now she's in a totally different industry that is an industry in itself, and that's being the baby mama of an athlete, right? So now she will be allowed to be invited to the Love and Hip Hops, or the Basketball Wives, all the reality shows, all the places she might not have had access to. Now that is an industry, and now she'll be able to capitalize and monetize off that in a totally different space. Not to mention the child support check she'll probably get every month. So that is literally an industry that is spreading more rapid than the damn coronavirus. Like, you know what I mean? Like it is spreading. It's got a lot of our people in the chokehold, and it is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, the reason the video hit me so hard was because, you see this really beautiful young lady, right, who clearly is poisoned and toxic. So like maybe I can only imagine what she went through as a kid that made her even just that cold-blooded in terms of, that behavior, right? It takes a certain mindset just to become an Instagram model anyway, where you're showing booty for a living, like that's it. And you're hanging out with porn stars. So chances are she's had some real crazy experiences, probably some horrible experiences with men that have led her to just say, okay, men are an accessory. They're a commodity. You get your money and you move on, right? Like, shallow people attract shallow people. That's what they kind of do. But to hear, when I heard the video, what it made me think about was, one, the fact that a lot of athletes are committed to this very dumb culture of just sleeping with all these different women. But then two, the idea of the fact that they're not wearing condoms, what that really says to me, it goes to another level. It's not just what she said or the types or what men should look out for, right? That's what simple people are going to say, oh, well, that's why you got to watch out for these gold diggers. We know that, right? Yeah, don't date gold diggers. That's what you're not supposed to do. But it really also speaks to everyone else, all of us. If you know that there's this whole culture of people that are not protecting themselves sexually, that are making these crazy choices, so that means that if you are a regular dude and you meet that girl who's been around with a bunch of guys who do that type of stuff, you got to think about that. Like, so for example, the difference between me and Russell Wilson is that I never would sleep with Sierra in the first place. Right? I wouldn't. No disrespect to Sierra. I'm not saying that her past, can't be overcome. I think she has a right to be a mother and to be happy and everything else. But just the fact that you laid down with Future, that right there says a lot, because Future raps about, 2-3 women at the same damn time. He had a whole song about it, right? Like, this man's probably, he's a walking CDC alert, like seriously. And people don't think about that. People don't even talk about it. It's real weird, or if you're a woman and you meet some tall, handsome man that's, I'll tell you this. I know some real smart women. I know a lot of women that got PhDs that are super sharp, and the smartest ones, I know smart, beautiful women who literally have said, I'll never sleep with an athlete. I don't mess with that, because they get around too much. They messing with too many different women, and I'm not trying to have you bring an STD home because I'm gonna have to kill you in your sleep. Like, I know women who think that way, right? But then there are people who just fall for the simple stuff. They just think if the person looks good, you just pretend like they're safe and healthy. But think about this, right? We live in a world where everybody's scared of COVID. Like, oh, I got to be careful. Got to wear my mask. Got to make sure I get my shot, right? Okay, fine. Go get your shot. Wear your mask. But you also got to wear your mask on your, when you have sex, right? You have to, I don't understand why there's not more conversation about that you literally have super spreaders all throughout your community. The fact that she just laid down this idea that, that you can go get money by having sex with an athlete because they don't use condoms. So she's presenting that as an opportunity, as a business opportunity. She's telling women, she's like, I'm about to let y'all in on some game. And all you got to do is, if you want to come off that check, just go sleep with an athlete. They don't be using condoms anyway.
And you got to know that from experience.
Right. And think about this, right? So there's some young girls watching, like, okay, so that's how I can get this money. So they're thinking, oh, all I got to do is go find some athlete who's had sex with 3,000 women with no condom, and I can be 3,001. Does anybody talk about what happens when I don't? Do I sound preachy? Do I sound, maybe I just sound old fashioned. But I mean, am I the only one who thinks about these things? I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
No, I mean, like, I'll tell you, it's something that's discussed, but it ain't. It's like taboo. It's like something that is there, almost like the elephant in the room. It's there, but you don't speak on that, man. Like, you're trying to get out here and get some girls, man. We're not going to talk about what could potentially happen, because the baby is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is you get something that you can't ever get rid of, that you got to go get checked up and get certain shots all the time. You know what I mean? Like that's something where you got to go to the doctor's office once a month because of whatever reason. You know what I mean? So like I said, the baby is literally, and costing you potentially millions of dollars is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is you get something that you can't get rid of, and that in the long run shortens your life. So, in health is more important than wealth, because you can have all the wealth in the world, but if you ain't healthy, and if you're not there to spend it, or there to pass it down, or there to divvy it up between your family, then there ain't no point of having a whole bunch of money or even garnering a lot of wealth if you can't be healthy enough to see what ends up happening with your own money. So yeah, no, it's like I said, it's like the elephant in the room, but it's just very, very quietly, we just go ahead and get past all of that STD stuff, like as if it isn't real, but it's very much so real.
Yeah, it's like out of sight, out of mind, I guess. And I'm not telling people how to live their life. I saw one guy here who said I sound like a nerd hater. I probably am. I'm definitely a proud nerd, and I'm not so much a hater, because I don't care I mean, how people want to live their life is how they live. But I'm definitely, if I see some BS, I'm gonna call it out, and I don't care. I can literally stand by myself and be disagreed with by a million people, and I'm gonna stand by my point. Because remember, you're talking from the perspective of a failed Black community. You're talking about a community that isn't getting what it wants. We're not succeeding in a lot of areas. Our kids are not getting.
But it's because of that mindset, though, Doc. It's because people think that what you're saying is nerd hater, right? Like if they thought, like, damn, like what he's saying is real shit, like we wouldn't be a failed community. But because so many people think that what you're saying, I don't know, not getting STDs, I don't know, not having a bunch of baby mamas, I don't know, actually building wealth and not, having it deteriorate because of doctor's visits and child support, right? You know what I mean? Like if you had that nerd hater mentality, if you got rid of that shit, like that stigma, and stop listening to the people that tell you that that's nerd, being a nerd and a hater, then we wouldn't be a failed community. But that is why we are a failed community. I think we're building in the right direction, but there's still a lot of roaches around, right? Like we're stomping the roaches, but we need a damn exterminator to come through and get rid of this stuff. And some, some might survive, some might not. But it's that mentality is what's holding us back. People saying that stuff is being a nerd and a hater is the exact mentality and why we are in the place that we are now.
Oh yeah, I'm comfortable in that position because I one of the things I think is true too is the B1 community is not a failed community. The people in the B1 community are wealthier than the average American, not just the average Black American, but the average American. We do surveys on you guys. You are more educated. You have healthier families. You're more likely to be happy with your wealth, your relationships, everything else in between. And it's because you're making the right choices, right? So whenever I say things like this, when I'm pushing things in a different direction from where the masses are going, I already know what the reaction is going to be. I'm going to get some people that are going to say, you sound, that sounds whack. That sounds stupid. And what I would say to people like that is, you can't give better advice. That's why you think it sounds stupid, because the advice you would give is likely the advice that would lead to further self-destruction in the community. It would lead to more of the baby mama, baby daddy stuff. It would lead to more broken families, more broken, busted wealth, more broke Black people, more unhealthy Black people, more dead Black people, and so people should probably really understand that many times there's a big difference between being popular and being correct, right? Popularity doesn't mean shit. Popularity only means something when you need validation from the masses to make you feel safe and comfortable in your ignorance. And so that validation, I encourage people to let that go. Sometimes you're going to say something that, and I got that. I got that from my parents. My parents they were the types of people that would be like, I don't care what everybody else is doing. That's not what we're going to do. And it showed in our family. Our family had success at a level that was not matched by most of my parents' friends. Their kids all, getting into dope, going to jail, unemployed, struggle, babies, mamas, all kinds of problems, or 2 a.m. phone calls because you always got a problem every week. And our shit was pretty solid. We didn't have all of that stuff. And it was really because they had common sense. So I like talking to people that have common sense that will say that having unprotected sex with 3,000 people is probably not the best use of your body. Give me a yes if you can at least agree with that statement. Give me a yes if you can at least agree that having not using condoms on a regular basis is probably not going to work out for you. If you can't agree with that statement, if you cannot give me a yes on that comment, then I don't know what to do with you. I really need you to leave because this ain't the place for you. So I'm not the Klan. I don't want Black people to die. I want Black people to live. Now, let me see here. Somebody says, read my $20 super chat comment above. I did not. I can't see your comment, J. Joe. And look, I think J. Joe's making donations so he can say smart alecky stuff anyway. But but if you make the comment again, I will read your comment. Since you made a donation, I owe it to you. All right, so do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and we're talking about PJ. What's it? PJ Washington.
PJ Washington.
His girlfriend Brittany Renner, who had the baby, and she basically revealed that she was pretending the whole time, and that allegedly their relationship was fake. Now I'm sitting there tripping over the fact that when I went to her Instagram, which has 4.6 million followers, she deleted every single post up until 6. Like she scrubbed it all. Why do you think she did that?
Well, because she's trying to erase the image that was Brittany Renner pre PJ Washington, pre having the baby, right? it doesn't help that one of the 6 posts, you only have like 6 posts on there, and one of the 6 posts is with the porn star Tiana Trump, right? Like that doesn't help, but it gives you this false narrative. So for people who are just now discovering her name, you go and it's like, oh, this ain't that bad, right? All the old, crazy videos and the old, thirst trap, half naked video of pictures and stuff, all of that's gone, right? And I think also because she has a child, a lot of women, a lot of people go through this when they have a child, they try to present a better image, right? I might have been one way before having my child, but I want to present this as a certain way after having a child, because now that we live in a digital era, kids, by the time they turn 4 and 5, 3, 2, 4, 5, they're able to pick up iPads. They're able to look stuff up. They're able to get on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. So you want to try to clean that up as much as possible before your kid gets to 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and able to look on the internet and see like, damn, this is on my mommy's Instagram, or like, damn, this is what my mommy does for a living. You know what I mean? Like, so you're trying to clean that up. The only problem is once you put something on the internet, it never goes away.
It never goes away. That's right. That's right. Yeah. The internet. Yeah, you can. I don't know if everybody knows that, but in fact, there's a website I think you can go to where you can turn the clock back on a website and see stuff from like the previous year. Does anybody know that website? What's the website you can go to where you can change your your Instagram, or you can go back and look at what used to be up there and what was deleted. I can't remember the name of the website, but let me see. Melanie Douglas makes a good point. I want to address this one. This is a good one. She says, "I'd like to hear you amplify more stories that reflect your audience." Actually, this really reflects my audience because a lot of us have situations where we have relationships with the wrong person. And one of the things that I believe, Melanie, that's really important is that you have to think about the kinds of relationships you have when it comes to wealth. A lot of us also have kids who are going to be making choices. They're going to be sucked into the same reality, same life that, a lot of people on the internet are sucked into. They're going to, fall in love with the Instagram model or whatever. And you want to be able to give your son, especially your sons, advice on what to look out for, but also your daughters as well. I talk to my daughters about real life all the time. We don't just talk about the ivory tower. I'm talking about what I see on Instagram, what I see on YouTube and Facebook. I'm gonna talk to them about this. And the reason is that it's like, I want you to understand the game. I want them to understand every inch of the game. And that type of training that came from my father, because my father taught me using real life experiences. He did not shelter me from anything, but he kept me at enough of a distance where I wasn't going to be hurt by the thing we were talking about. Like he didn't make me try drugs to know that drugs are bad, but he would show me drug addicts and he would give me real life stories about things that happened with dope or whatever. And that made me stay away from drugs and alcohol. So that's how I teach. I like to teach with real life. And so, yeah, but you're right though. Hopefully most of the people in the audience wouldn't make the choices that they're making, but everybody has sex. I mean, come on now. Let's stop pretending. So Jeff, let me ask you this. In terms of, so what did you're 25, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. When you turn 26?
In November.
Okay. November what?
26.
Oh, that's 4 days after my mother's birthday. Okay. So you are 25. As you watch this through the eyes of a 25-year-old, is there anything that you've learned just from what you've seen and maybe this conversation that maybe you just sort of, I want to hear from your perspective in terms of the way maybe it might have shifted the way you see the world, if at all?
Not really, because once again, I am someone who works in the sports industry. I've dealt with a lot of athletes, right? Like high level, low level, high school, pro, everything, right? So I've seen a lot of this. It's like seeing a rerun, right? It's not anything because the thing is, it's just like PJ just got played. He got played in even though I had never saw that video of Brittany Renner before, like the one that you showed, I hadn't saw it before like this week, right? Like this last week is when I first saw it. But I could have told you who Brittany Renner was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years, you know what I mean? Like, and Brittany is not the first, nor will she be the last of her kind, right? By her kind, I mean the one that is capitalizing off of a famous athlete, rapper, internet personality, whatever. Like, because this is now an industry, because there are people like Brittany Renner. And so the thing is, groupies and stuff, that's been around since the forever, right? Groupies have been around forever. But the thing is now with social media and with the internet, groupies are now amplified. Groupies are now put on pedestals. Groupies are now getting endorsement deals, advertising. So now they're obviously breeding more groupies, right? More than we've ever seen. Instagram is literally a monetization business. It is people monetize off their Instagram. And so now that Brittany Renner has shown, now that this other woman, now that whoever your favorite Instagram person is who has a couple 100,000 followers, hell, maybe even a couple million followers, they just breed more people like this. And I feel like it's now more than ever. Now, granted, they had groupies back when Michael Jordan was in the NBA, but there was no internet. Right. And so they didn't get rich off. Only way they got rich was by having a baby. And now you can actually get rich by just posting naked pictures or half naked pictures, OnlyFans, Instagrams, Patreon, all kinds of ways you can monetize off being a hoe. Right. And now if you do, I mean, for real. And now if you do have the baby, that puts you in a different stratosphere because now you can go be famous on like Love and Hip Hop or Basketball Wives or all these reality shows. So now Brittany Renner, don't be surprised if she ends up getting cast on the next season of Basketball Girls because it's Basketball Wives, but half of them aren't married anymore or they're ex-wives or they're baby mamas or whatever. You know what I mean? So that is a whole industry in itself, and it's tough out here, man. Like it's really rough for some of these people who are in the spotlight, famous people, entertainers, rappers, basketball players, football players, or whatever, because it's hard to filter out. With all of this going on, it's really hard to filter out and find the right woman.
Everybody, I'm talking to Jeff Lightsy Jr. from the Black Boss channel, and we were talking about Brittany Renner and PJ Washington, an NBA player who had a baby with her, and it turns out the whole relationship appears to be pretty fake, and that she was scheming the whole time. And it's really a cautionary tale about relationships and who you choose to let into your life. And so everybody, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And I also want to mention to everybody that Jeff does a lot of great content on the Black Boss channel. And so it's basically a channel where everything comes from a black male perspective, whether you're talking about politics, relationships, or anything else. So if you'd like to, if you care about what black men think, or you are a black man, go to the blackbosschannel.com. We're building black media that lets black men talk. And so we have a lot of brothers over there that do a lot of really good stuff. And Jeff is one of them. And so, so Jeff, one of the things I can say, and I guess as we kind of shut this down, one of the things I think that's relatable here. Now, PJ is going to pay a lot of money, right? PJ makes $4 million a year. Even at that rate, he's going to, maybe pay maybe 1.5 million to 2 million of that a year in child support. Once he gets that big contract, he's paying, what was it? 14, you said 14 million a year approximately. So you chop that up, and cut it in half, so about $1 million a month, right? So or more, right? So that's what you're looking at for as long as he plays in the NBA and beyond, if he's able to figure out how to keep making money. So this is an expensive decision. And so one of the things I would say is for athletes, this obviously says that, wealth training on all levels is critical for anybody that goes into that space. Anybody that comes into a lot of money, it's very important to protect your wealth. The reason that her statement about athletes being dumb and that the best way to make money is to get an athlete to get you pregnant is basically here's what she's saying. I'm gonna give you all the finance professor interpretation of what Brittany Renner said. She's basically saying that a fool and his money will always part ways. Absolutely. That if you are a sucker, you're not going to be rich for long. Because the minute that you get money, and I did a post on this to explain this to people, this is true for anybody in here. How many of you, give me a yes or no in the chat, how many of you in here either are making more money or plan to come into money one day? Give me a yes or no if you're an investor, if you have a business, if you have a high income, or if you plan to, or if you're working and making moves and you're going to have wealth one day, real estate, stocks, whatever. Put a yes in the chat if you are a wealth builder. And this is a warning for every wealth builder. I'm going to tell you what happens when you build wealth. It's no secret now. I don't talk much about how much money I've made or whatever in my life, but apparently all the suckers on the internet like to point out the fact that the celebrity net worth says my net worth is $8 million. And let me just confirm to you that that's a lie, because I'm worth more than that. But here's the thing that happens when you start making money. You attract all different kinds of people. You attract different people when you have money. You attract a lot of scammers. You attract a lot of beggars with every sob story known to man. You attract you'll attract people that will want to steal your money. You will attract women. Because men become very handsome when we have lots of money. You will attract all different kinds of people bringing you crappy business deals, bothering you about everything, right? And what happens is you have to form layers of protection. And your first source of protection is up here. You've got to be strategic and intelligent, because if you're not, then somebody's going to outsmart you and they're going to wiggle their way into your life so they can go grab the money. That's why, for example, just to give y'all a glimpse, into my little stupid little life, I told my wife, I said, sometimes I don't even like answering the phone, because very rarely does anybody call me offering me an opportunity to make money or offering to help me. Almost everybody that calls, 80% of the calls I get are from people that want something from me, that need my help, that are asking for money, whatever. It comes with the territory. I'm not complaining about it, but that's what occurs. So what happens is you develop layers of protection. I have people where I say, I don't want to talk to that person. You talk to that person, or I'm not going to answer the phone when that person calls, or that person used to have access to me. They don't have access to me anymore because I don't trust them, or I don't even know that person. Until somebody I trust knows that person for a year, I won't even have one conversation with you, because if I have one conversation with you, you've now got a Boyce Watkins story that I know you can take that to the internet and make money off that. There's people who built their whole YouTube channels off of fake ass Boyce Watkins stories. You know what I'm talking about. That blew my mind. I was like, wow, I didn't know that I mattered that much. Well, okay, all right, note taken.
You're like an industry doc on YouTube right now. You're like an industry in a couple different categories.
Yes, and it's fine. It comes with the territory. It's totally fine. You have to take it in properly. You have to process it properly so it doesn't turn you into what is it, a cynical asshole, or a person that has trust issues, right? Yeah. And so, but I will say though that with these athletes, they don't know that, and I think what makes me feel bad for them is a lot of them go into the NBA and they're 18, 19, 20 years old. They don't have any good mentorship, except they boys in the hood that they throwing money around to or whatever. The luckiest people in the world are the people like Shaquille O'Neal, who had his mama around, who basically said, I'm not going to let you be a sucker and lose all your money. She shut him down. Yeah. She said, here's some money for you to play with. Go play. Go be a kid. The rest of this is our generational wealth. We're gonna stack this bread over here. I'm gonna make moves with this money. You can't even touch it. This is mama's money, and I loved it, right? And she let Shaq go do whatever he's gonna do. And now, as a result, Shaq is gonna be a billionaire. Compare that to Antoine Walker, who's from the state of Kentucky, like you and I. Antoine Walker got with the basketball wives. Evelyn Lozada was his wife for a little while, I think, and she was a career groupie. She went to Antoine, sucked all his money out. Then she went to a baseball player, had a baby with him. Yep. And who got the $20 million a year contract? She's set for life.
Chad Ochocinco. Chad Johnson.
Yeah, Chad Ochocinco. There we go. Thank you. See, you're the historian. You know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot.
There's a lot of Evelyn had a little run right there.
Yeah. Now she's old. Now she can't make money off her looks anymore. But it don't matter. She's probably worth more than most CEOs. That lady's probably worth over $100 million. I bet she is, because I bet you that she didn't trick her money away at the strip club and whatever. Like, I bet she invested. She probably got 401ks. She could probably tell you about her emerging asset investments in Southeast Asia. She could tell you about restaurant franchises she's invested in. She's probably got real estate all over the world. Like, she ain't tricking her money away. So I'm just telling you that, if that lady was doing you a favor when she did that video, because what she was basically saying is that a fool and his money will soon part ways. The other thing too is, for just in terms of practical advice, here's the deal. It takes about $250,000 to raise a child in America. Every child costs $250,000. So every time you have a child with a person, whether you stay with them or not, you're going to end up spending $250,000 to raise a child. So if you have 5 kids, that's $1.25 million in like student loans, basically, like another version of student loans that you owe. You owe $1.25 million in student loans because you had these 5 kids in these situations. And also, if you're unfortunate enough to have chosen to have those kids in different households as a man, not only will you end up paying all kinds of money, but there's a good chance that some of your children won't even love you, that your children won't even like you anymore. They'll be like, Daddy was never there. I don't care how much you paid in child support. You were never there. You weren't in the house with me. So I hate you. So think about this. You just popped out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And these are regular people. This is not NBA players. I'm talking about regular dudes. So you popped out, 30, 40% of your paycheck to the point where it's financially crippling. You've done this for 18 years consistently, and your child still hates your guts because you weren't around. So this is the type of stuff that they don't teach you in a finance class, But this is stuff that, in my view, most smart millionaires and billionaires understand to the fullest extent. That's why a lot of these really wealthy people won't even have a conversation with you if they think you're on some shady stuff. So, Jeff, I'll let you get the last word. Any final thoughts?
No, man, it's just like you said, just got to be careful, guys. Like everybody that's out here, whether you're making money or not, and I assume the people that are watching this are making some sort of money or building towards some sort of wealth. You definitely have to be careful, and you can't associate yourself, even if they've been your homie or your homegirl for the entirety of your life. At some point, you have to level up. I go back to that quote from Magic. Now that I'm up here, the deals, the talks, the conversations, the people that I deal with have to be up here. If you're down here, we can't associate because I can't bring myself down there. Even if I've known you the entirety of my life, I can't bring myself down there to associate with you because all of that it's a lose-lose. One, I'm lowering the value of myself. And two, I run the risk of getting into something that I have nothing to do be a part of, and I run the risk of losing everything just because I want to say, oh, I'm kicking it with somebody or associating with somebody that I've known the entirety of my life. But if those people aren't trying to level up with you or be up there at that level with you or showing some sort of progress, you got to cut them off and stay away from it for sure.
And you said a whole word, man, and I totally agree with you, and I totally like what you said and how you broke it down, and I hope that this conversation was helpful to those who watched. This was not a discussion designed to just gossip about somebody else's life, somebody else's money. This is a situation where something happened in real life, something was revealed, and smart people will understand that when things like this get revealed, that's a learning opportunity. I compare it to when we found out that the CIA was dealing drugs in the Black community. That was an opportunity to really learn a little bit more about the hustles and the conspiracies that are being done against our people. And that was also a time where you're supposed to say, well, if that's the one conspiracy I found out about, how many other conspiracies are there that I don't know about, right? And the same thing is true here. She revealed the conspiracy. She revealed the groupie conspiracy. Okay, well, if you want to get paid, you want to come up on some bread, go give an athlete. They don't wear condoms. That's something a lot of people didn't know, that a lot of athletes don't wear condoms. Maybe you know, maybe you didn't. I didn't know that. I assumed guys were smarter than that, right? And that there's an army, there's millions of people out there that understand that the use of sex or having a child or whatever to make money, that's an industry. And also with Instagram and this constant temptation. Like every day, she's showing you the booty. She's showing you the things that are going to suck you in. You can go back 100,000 years, and beautiful women have always been used as a way to lure powerful men in and get them to drop their guard. You can go back and you can find kings who've been assassinated by being lured in by a beautiful woman. Like this is not a new trick.
Samson in the Bible. It happened in the Bible.
It happened in the Bible, man. Like this go away. Bill Clinton. It happened with Bill Clinton. I mean, literally, there's and that's something that I don't know. Maybe everybody isn't trying to be smart. I don't know. Maybe I just sound nerdy by bringing this up, but I can really tell anybody that wants to listen that you've got to learn how to play chess. If you want to play at the highest levels, if you stay down there playing checkers, then you're gonna stay broke. So I want to say thank you very much to Jeff Lightsy Jr. For your time, man. It was great, and thank you, Fact You Payme. He says Fact You Pay Me. That's his that's his name. He put a B1 on the screen. So thank you for your donation to the platform. I appreciate it. Everybody, I want you all to know where you can follow Jeff. His Instagram and his Twitter is jlightsy7. I'm gonna try to put it on the screen so you can see it. And there we go. It's so follow him on Instagram at jlightsy7. Everybody should follow Jeff Lightsy Jr. He's the best I know at sports, and he understands statistics and information. He's super smart, and he's on the blackbosschannel.com every single day. And also don't forget that tonight we're gonna watch a movie together. We have Black Movie Night. I'm going to watch our new film called Till Death Do Us Part, where we talk to Black couples that have been married over 30 years to figure out how they were able to keep their family together through all that time, because family is the foundation for wealth. You can't build wealth without family. Think about this. Why would you think you can get rich when your families are all messed up? There's no community on earth where you can build wealth without having solid families. Think about it. How are you going to go out here and conquer territory and build empires when you can't even keep your own house in order? Your own house is all messed up. What makes you think you can go take over somebody else's house? You can't. So anybody who thinks that family and wealth is not connected is probably not a person that has any wealth. That's it. And the most, so when somebody says, well, that stuff don't matter, why are they talking about relationships? That's stupid. Go look at their bank account, go look at their financial situation, and then that'll tell you everything about how that mentality is working out for them. So let's not be stupid. Let's be smart. I want you to be smart. I want you to do better. That's I got my PhD, not for me, but I got it for you. And I want to share with you what I know. So if you'd like to join us, you can watch the movie for free. It doesn't cost you a penny. We're going to watch it tonight. It's directed by Tierra KJ Williams out of Hollywood. I appreciate her very much for doing this film for us. And it cost us a bunch of money. It took us 2 years. And we decided as a team that we weren't going to sell it. We wanted people to see it for free. So just join us. But you got to come live. And we're going to meet tonight at 8 p.m. Bring your whole family. And it's blackmovienight.net. And it's for people that are interested in positive vibes and positive Black conversations. And that's what we're all about. So thanks a lot, Jeff. It was real.
Appreciate it, Doc. Always.
And everybody, please have a wonderful day. And we will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.